Okay, hey guys, this is day 2 of the SSL Origin install. Yesterday, day 1, you saw us move, or you saw a video of a compilation of clips of me uncrating the SSL, and then me and a bunch of my friends bringing it down into the studio and then turning it on for the first time. This is the next day. It's early in the morning, and I'm up early today, and I have a couple of things I want to do to get prepared until tomorrow when my friend Dave comes up from New York to help me start wiring so we could start passing some sound through this thing. So, wanted to give you guys an update. So yesterday, basically what I did after everything was done, after the video that you guys saw, I just pre-laid out where I think things are going to kind of go. So the racks are going to probably go here, kind of on an angle. So I have that kind of like that. For now, orientated. I put back some of our little seating area behind the console here that you can see. Sorry for the mess. We got labels and tapes and all kinds of stuff. And that's kind of what it's going to kind of look like here. And so what do I have to do today? So today, what I wanted to do was I need to label the front of the console. Let me bring you back here and you can see what I'm talking about. So the back of the console, all these labels here I put on, none of the D subs are labeled. The console's not labeled at all. No silk screening, no labeling, anything on this for the D subs. So what I did was I went and got the installation manual on my iPad here, SSL, on their website, and there's a diagram on what all these D subs and all the connections are. So I got out the label maker. You can see a bunch of labels down here. And I started labeling. So basically we have buckets of 8. We got 4 buckets of 8. 8 times 4 is 32, right? 32 channel console. So here's all the channel line in, monitor line in, short fader, send and return, long fader, send and return, and direct out. And that just duplicates. That's the first 8 channels. Here's the second 8 channels. And I have not labeled yet 3 and 4, which is going to be way down there. Okay, that'll be next after this little update. And then down here, the white D subs, that is all the master section, which I have all the labels, and I'm going to label that today. So then when we're sitting down back here with all the cabling, we know where everything goes. I'm a little surprised that this wasn't silk screened or labeled or anything. That kind of surprised me, but not a big deal. Anyway, I like my labels better anyway. If they had little small printing, I probably wouldn't be able to read it very well. This is nice. It sticks out. It's nice and big. Can't miss it. So that's what is on for today. And then the other thing I want to do to get prepared for tomorrow is to get all of the D-sub cables, get all the connectors pre-labeled on either end that go from the Apollo to the Origin. So we set up a kind of a little work table over here for now. I got a bunch of cables here, and so these are the long 15-foot cables where I'm going to put some labeling on, Apollo on one end, on the other end, to the Origin, so we know exactly where everything goes. And that will be done today as well. So when Dave shows up tomorrow, we're ready to go. We can just start plugging things in. The other thing that I noticed yesterday, which I thought is kind of not disappointing, just wasn't really, well, not really disappointed, I wouldn't say, but just like a snafu that I wasn't aware of. So anyway, what you see up here is I just kind of put this on the 2 blank panels. So the Origin has the master section, which is a 19-inch rack space, right? So you can, what's great about it, what's really awesome that SSL did, is you can unbolt this, and you can push the master section up or down, and you can put gear in those 2 open racks. So the UF8, for my automation, that has rack gears that haven't come in yet. That typically, that can mount into that space. Or you can move the master section controls up to the top and put this down in front of you. So when you're sitting here, you got your hands right here to do automation. The problem with that is, what I don't like about that is that now the master section and all the controls, the volume, the fader, any of the talkback, anything that you would typically touch here, and the bus compressor, and the talkback mic will be way up here. And you can see I'm sitting right in front of the console, pulled up here in the chair. And just to reach up there, I mean, it's a far reach. You got to go way up here. You got to really stretch out. I don't like that because you're going to have your hand on the master section quite a bit. I don't like the idea of writing, having to reach way up here to use automation. That's a pain as well. And the more I thought about it, there's two things that I can do here. The UF8, like I said right now, I just took the feet that are on here. Let me take this down. So see if I can grab this with one hand. Sorry about this, guys, with one hand here. So the UF8, sorry about this shaky camera, has the two feet that I installed on it for a desktop. So there's a couple of things I can do. I was thinking about, let me see if I can grab this, kind of like what I'm going to do with this controller, which I'll talk about in a second, is I can leave this thing already pre-wired with a cable, USB power. And when I'm going to use it, I can store it up there on top of the racks. And then I can just simply at the end, when you're doing maybe your automation towards the end of the mix, the feet will go right on the scribble strip. And I can bring this right down to the console and I can use it here. Or I can move it to the center section. I can just put it here and I have it here. And then during the course of mixing, I don't really use this. I'm not going to be using this to control the faders in the DAW because I'm going to be mixing with the faders on the board. At least that's my intention, at least one workflow that we're going to experiment with. So this doesn't need to be in front of me at all times. If I put it here, then this has to go up here. And if that goes up here, it's hard to reach. Just so I can have those faders in front of me that I'm only going to use for, maybe 10% of the time that I'm actually working on a song. I don't know that that makes sense. It might make sense to kind of put it over here, keep it pre-cabled, and then just move it over when I need it, and then put it back. And I'm going to do the same thing with this. This is the plug-in control, right? The plug-in controller that we talked about, the UC1, where I'm using it more for using the dynamic section. I could just kind of leave that over here on the end of the console, and then when I'm not using it, I can put it back and get all the cables. It's right next to the rack. The other thing that I thought about was, well, when I'm doing automation, typically, and the way I've always done it in the box, is I was just using a single channel fader port, the PreSonus fader port. And I would just, ride a channel at a time. I wasn't typically doing automation with several faders simultaneously. Now, this gives you the ability to do that, and that might be kind of cool, and I'll experiment with that. But I'm almost thinking that maybe I just use, instead of having this, if that's all I'm using it for, primarily is for automation, maybe I just go with the single channel fader port. And I really don't need this, because that's really small. And that actually could fit right here perfectly. Or it's another thing I can leave over here and just little device, put it right on the armrest and just do my automation. I don't know. Because the other thing I want to do, what I think I really want to do, is I want to leave, these are two space. Is really what I want to put up here is the SSL Fusion. Because that's going to be hard patched alongside the bus compressor. Hit the compressor, out of the compressor, into the Fusion. And if the Fusion was up here, that makes sense because now you're sitting right between the speakers in the sweet spot. You can audition the different modules. You can make a quick little tweak. Your hands aren't on it all the time, but it's easy to do. As opposed to having it in the rack and then moving over with the chair and now you're out of the sweet spot to make your adjustment. It just seems to me that unit would be much better suited here. And so if I do that, then there's definitely no room for this. This is big enough, tall enough. This takes up both of those spaces. If they would have made it so you had more space there, this desk would have been even deeper. And then you got that long, uncomfortable stretch. And so I like the fact that the console's more narrow. So I'm going to see. We're going to do some experimenting. But again, this was kind of when I bought it, when I ordered it with the console, I kind of thought, yeah, it would be cool to have that in the middle, and it would be really cool to have some, motorized faders. But now that I see how everything is going to kind of fit together, I don't really know that I need this. I don't need 8 motorized faders. I don't know. We're going to see. I'm going to at least try it. Like I said, I'll have it off to the side. I could put a side card too. I could put a small table or something on this side. There's nothing over here. But I really don't want to do that. I don't want to box myself in too much. So we're going to see. I might end up keeping that. That might end up going at one point. Who knows? Maybe I'll end up selling it. I don't know. We're going to experiment. So that's the other kind of thing that I'm going to have to consider is what do I do with this? Do I need this? And what I really think this will do, let me put this down on the ground here for a minute. Sorry for the camera shake, guys. Again, this is the same thing. This, I got the feet on it. It rests right on the scribble strips, right? So it's not touching the faders. And this will be perfect for when I'm using the SSL compressor in the DAW because there's no dynamics on this board, right? So I can use the compressor gate here and that on every channel, and I can do it right from here. And I can just, you know, this is just, if I have it here right next to me, this is just like if it was sitting on the board. And then when I'm not using it, when I'm done using it, I can just take this thing, keep it all pre-wired, and just stick it back up here. It's out of the way. And so that's kind of what I'm going to try to figure out today. So again, the job for today is get everything labeled back here for sure. Get the Fusion physically out of the rack, bolted into the rack up here. I want to see how deep this cavity is as well, you know. I actually considered putting the Apollos in here. I could put the Fusion here, and I could put the two Apollos here. It would fit perfectly. The Apollos I don't have to put my hands on, ever, really. But the problem there is that I'm concerned about putting the Apollos, stacking them right on top of each other and not having a space between them because, you know, they generate some heat. And it's not a good practice from what I've been told on these units to put them stacked right on top of each other, although I know people do that. If I put them up here, they're going to be right on top of each other. And this thing in and of itself, I had this on for about 3 hours yesterday just to keep it running, just to see how much heat this thing generates. And it does. I mean, these stuff get warm to the touch. They're not hot to the touch, but this console generates heat. And of course it would, right? That just makes sense. So having the Apollos up here with no ventilation, with the bottoms of them, you know, there's no fans on this console or anything like that from what I can tell. So I'm a little worried about the Apollos overheating. So I think I'm going to leave those in the rack. The only advantage to putting them in the board is it frees up some more rack space for some future gear. But that's not a real big concern for me now. If I put the Fusion in the Origin, that frees up another, you know, 2 space for another piece of equipment. But anyhow, so that's kind of the deal for today. I just wanted to update you guys. This is day 2. Day 3 will be with my buddy Dave here, and we're going to get everything, if I can get everything prepped, we plug everything in, we figure out what little buttons and switches need to be pressed or depressed to get sound through the speakers. I'll mount the speakers back up here, get the focals, get the subwoofer in, and that's where we are for today. So again, like, share, and subscribe to Mixing Music Analog. I hope this is helpful to you guys, anyone that's interested in how we do this stuff. And there will be, again, a whole bunch of videos, like kind of a beginner's guide of a how-to for someone that's new to owning an SSL Origin. I'm gonna make a lot of those videos because SSL doesn't provide anything. There's nothing really on YouTube because the console is so new. So we're going to show how we hook everything up, plugging things in, which is pretty straightforward. Plugging in a cable is not a big deal. But then we're going to walk through how you route things, the channel strip, what all the buttons do, and how to use this thing in a very practical way from a very, you know, beginner's perspective for someone who's new to a console or new to this particular console. And I'll make a bunch of short videos, a bunch of 5-minute videos. Here's how you do this. Video 2, this is how you do this, and we're going to do this. So anyhow, that's the update for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon.